Time for us to be joined by a very special guest. Someone who sees things before the rest of us does. That gentleman is named Rosetradamus. Here is Rosetradamus.
Where you get all that gray from?
We are going to be picking certain games on the schedule, and Rosetradamus is going to tell us what happens. And we start with, the NBA is really giving people what they want. Opening night in the Staples Center. Lakers, Clippers in the Battle of Los Angeles. Rosetradamus. What do you see happening in that game?
What I see happening in that game is a lot of people who have never been Clipper fans will now be on the bandwagon. A lot of people who are Laker fans and feel like they won 16 championships personally gonna have their heads up and their chests sticking out. It's gonna be a terrific Battle of Los Angeles when you have elite level players on the floor and a LeBron James who haven't played in months.
Rosetradamus, do you see a playoff atmosphere on the opening night?
I see a playoff atmosphere, no question, every time these two teams play this year. It's going to be like that.
Rosetradamus, the next date I want you to focus your vision on is November 27th, when the Nets go to Boston and Kyrie Irving plays on the parquet wearing a different uniform. Rosetradamus, how do you think the Boston faithful will react to the return of Kyrie Irving?
I think they're going to give him a round of boos.
Really?
And as I sit here and think about it, that's going to happen in Cleveland too when he returns there. And when you're a talented player like he is, that can fuel him also. But on the other side, they do have Kemba Walker, an all-star guard. I think both Jays, Tatum and Brown, ascend. But here's my guy that I'm ready to see second year off injury. Gordon Hayward.
I want to see it happen for Gordon Hayward too. You love Gordon Hayward so much. I just want it to happen for you. I want it to happen for you. But Jalen, on that same night, Mr. Rosetradamus, November 27th, the same night, Anthony Davis will be playing in the Crescent City. How do you expect the New Orleans faithful to react to the return of Anthony Davis wearing the purple
emotional.
and gold?
It's going to be reminiscent of when KD returned to OKC. People are going to be Googling things and Wikipediaing things about him to try to put on signs.
Rich Paul at the game.
Rich Paul will not be at this game.
He might miss this one.
He shouldn't be. And so for Anthony Davis, he's built for it.
Yeah.
He knew when he told the team he wanted to be out, what could come with it. And he got his wish in Los Angeles with the Lakers. And they got their wish. The number 1 overall pick, Zion.
So, Rosetradamus, just a couple weeks later, this one's a little bit different. Kawhi Leonard, after winning a championship in Toronto and saying thanks but no thanks to Toronto and going to Los Angeles, returns to Toronto in a Clipper uniform. How do you think the Toronto faithful will react to the return of Kawhi Leonard?
With a round of applause.
Standing ovation?
Standing ovation, cheering for him every time he gets the ball. How about this? If I was a member of the Toronto Raptors, here's what I would do.
We get video tribute?
No.
Okay.
We've seen guys get video tributes that was questionable. The boss move, retire his number that day.
Whoa! Whoa! He played one season. Only 62 games during that season. And we're going to retire his number that day.
I will retire his number that day. That's what should happen.
So give him a ring. You come out, give him a ring at center court, retire his number before the game starts?
Yes.
Wow.
Or at halftime.
Oh, you're a better man than I.
You retire his number.
He's still the guy that said no.
So here's what I want you to think about. The Toronto Raptors have not been around for 60 years. They've been around for about 25 years. Okay? They've never been to the finals. They never won a championship. The greatest players in franchise history,
Jalen Rose,
while in their uniform,
Jalen Rose,
Vince Carter,
Jalen Rose,
DeMar DeRozan.
Jalen Rose.
Got to give Biggie a shout, Damon Stoudemire. Tracy McGrady was a young player when he was there.
Bosh.
And Chris Bosh. Okay. So you're going to celebrate those guys as the greatest Raptors of all time. Vince, DeMar, and Bosh, because of their longevity and their productivity. But Kawhi did something uniquely special. You give him a standing ovation, and you retire his number when he returns.
Rosetradamus predicts the future, continues to predict the future. 3 days before Christmas, December 22nd, Paul George in a Clipper uniform returns to Oklahoma City. Only had a couple years in Oklahoma City, but did ask for a trade with 3 years left on his deal. Does he get booed?
Like Kyrie Irving, he's going to be set up this season as a great player that's going to get serial bulls. Because it's going to happen in Indiana, too.
You think so?
Yes.
He got traded away from Indiana.
He asked to be traded to the Lakers, and they traded him to OKC. Okay? And they got Victor Oladipo in return, who's going to come back from an injury and play at an all-NBA level.
Rosetradamus.
Yes, sir.
This one's tricky. This is probably the most complicated one for Rosetradamus to predict. A few weeks later, same city, same building in Oklahoma City, Russell Westbrook comes into town wearing a Rocket uniform. Now, Russell Westbrook did not ask to be traded. Russell Westbrook was traded away. I think he was complicit in it. He spent his entire career toiling for the Thunder, committing himself to that city over and over again. Crowd respond to the return of Russell Westbrook.
You're going to hear the loudest cheers and the most support that I recall seeing from a great player returning to his former team in modern history.
I think he deserves that. I think he deserves that with everything that he's been through. And it seems like the circumstances around him leaving the Thunder were not necessarily his doing.
Thanks so much for watching ESPN on YouTube. For more sports analysis and highlights, download the ESPN app. And for live streaming and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.